School lunch challenge. Again, we have a turkey and cheese sandwich today. Some other items are carrots, some grape juice, milk, yogurt, cheese stick, and an apple. And we are going to set aside all of the items that we had used in our stuffing mixture. And we're going to utilize the milk, the apple, and the yogurt. Today we have a raspberry rainbow. So a raspberry apple Clafoutis, which is a French custard dessert, and we're gonna make that in the microwave. So let's get started. For the raspberry apple Clafoutis, the first thing we're gonna do is peel our apple. Get the outer apple peeled, because when that bakes in the microwave, the skin left on would not be very pleasant for your mouthfeel. And then we wanna slice it into fairly thin slices. So using a chef's knife or any type of a knife you have at your house, we're gonna go ahead and very carefully cut our apple. So taking our knife, holding it to where it is secure in our hand, so that when it is on the board, you can either choose our thumb out and really secure, or our thumb in. But I like it like this, so that way when I'm using my knife, it doesn't end up sliding out of my hand. My apple is flat on the table, and I'm gonna go straight down on the apple, turning it so that I can go ahead and get my core removed from the apple. Now, when I get to my final core, I go ahead and put that down, move the core so that my skins and my apple are out of the way, and then I wanna go ahead and slice it. If you noticed any bruising, sometimes that happens, especially when you bring it home in your book bag. You can just cut that out of the way. But then we're gonna go ahead and carefully rocking our knife, keeping our finger in a claw method so that the knife as it goes down does not cut our hand. The thumb is tucked underneath, and our knife is rocking on the board, kind of like a train in motion. So as we come down, we slice those apples as thinly as we are comfortable with. If you're not comfortable, have an adult do this for you. Go ahead and cut your entire apple. Now, instead of using a mug today, we're gonna be using a shallow, microwavable, safe dish. So you wanna go ahead and get a flat cereal bowl or a pasta bowl for this. Okay, and we have our apples nice and thin. So with our apple, we're gonna put it into our flat dish. So this just happens to be a pasta bowl that I have at my house. And we're gonna line up the apples in a circle so that they have a really nice, pretty pattern. We're gonna be able to see these apples after they cook. You could kind of throw them in there if you don't wanna waste time making them look nice, but you know what? You're improving your school lunch. You're making it look nice and taste better than what you would have had just out of the bag. So let's go ahead and take a few minutes and decorate our apples so that they look really pretty within our mixture. So placing that in, a nice starburst pattern, and nice and flat. We don't want a lot of extra outside of our apples. So this will take our whole apple. Now, if it's a little thick, you might find that your apples don't cook all the way through, but it is still equally tasty. And so we've built up our apple mixture and made it into a nice star pattern, pressing on it, and that's gonna be really delicious once we put our custard on top of it. So let's go ahead and get the custard made. Next, to make our custard, we're gonna add in our yogurt. So opening this up and adding in our container of yogurt. Scraping it all out into the bowl. To that, we're gonna add in 1 tablespoon of brown. To this, we're gonna add in a tablespoon of sugar. Even though this is sweet, we do need to add sugar to help set the custard. So a tablespoon of sugar. And then to that, we are gonna add in 1 egg. So we crack that egg right on the table surface, place it into a different container to make sure that you don't have any shell, and then put it into the mixture. So we have sugar and egg And then we're gonna add in some of our school milk. We're gonna add in a tablespoon of our school milk. Taking some type of a whisk or a fork, if you don't have a whisk, go ahead and mix this around until it's evenly combined. There's no egg pieces left, and the mixture is nice and smooth. Our custard mixture is nice and smooth, so I'm gonna set that out aside, and I'm gonna bring my apples back, and to this, I'm gonna add in a half of a tablespoon of butter. So I'm gonna add in a half of a tablespoon of butter, and just using my knife, I'm gonna cut into little pieces. So those little pieces, I'm gonna just place randomly on the top of the apple. And I'm gonna put this in the microwave for 30 seconds before I add the custard. Now that my apples and my butter have melted in the microwave, I'm gonna pour on my custard. If you see a little bit of butter chunk, you can just push on that to make it a little smaller, but it's gonna continue to melt. So my custard is gonna get poured right over the top of my apples, and I wanna make sure that my apples are completely coated. Okay, getting all of my batter out of there. So the apples are coated, and then we're gonna take a light sprinkling of cinnamon. I like to just tap my container over the top of it. So you wanna just see the little freckles of cinnamon, but you don't wanna have an actual measure because we're really not using that much. We're just giving it a little bit of flavor to enhance the yogurt. And we're gonna put this in the microwave for 3 minutes and then check it. So this is a custard. It has to be done at intervals so that it doesn't overbake, and the egg in the custard will puff up, it will crack, and it really won't look good. So let's see what 3 minutes does. It's been 3 minutes and it is almost set, but not quite. So I'm gonna go ahead and stick it in for 1 more minute and see if we can't set that center, and then we're gonna cool it for 5 minutes before we see how it came out. We placed the clafoutis into the microwave for an additional minute, so 4 minutes in total, and you can see that it is set toward the edges. Now it should cool for about 5 minutes, or you can get this completely cold and the custard will set. So we have a delicious apple, raspberry, yogurt, microwaved custard from our school lunch challenge, accepted, completed, and if you look at that, delicious.